Hey everyone, Richard here, and it is the end of the year, and that means it's time to go through my favorite pickups and purchases of 2025. So let's just get into that. Alright, so like I said, this is the year in review, if you will. When I initially decided I was going to do this again this year, I wasn't sure I was going to have enough stuff to kind of do something worthy of a video. I felt like I didn't pick up a lot this year, but when I was going through it, I picked up more stuff than I thought, and I actually struggled in a different way, narrowing it down. So this will be mostly comics. There are a couple things that aren't comic related, but they're just collectibles or experiences, what have you. It's my list, it's my rules. Yeah, let's just go through this. It's kind of in order. Um, there could be a little debate on positioning of some of them, but more or less in order. So yeah, let's just get into this and show my favorite pickups from this year. All right, first book. This is a comic book, and it is actually, as far as value goes, not one of the bigger books I picked up this year. I paid less than $40 for this book. But this book is incredibly hard to find, and that's mainly why it made the list. Lovers, number 52. This is the J. Scott Pike cover. Signed by him down there. I looked for this book for several years trying to find a copy. It just never came up for sale. Eventually, one popped up for auction, and I scored it. And I'm very glad to have this because, as a big fan of the Lovers 49 cover, this kind of feels like a completion of that set to me. I still plan to eventually get this one graded for the pair. But yeah, this had to be number 10 just because of how long it took me to find a copy of this book. So yeah. All right, next book. I actually picked this up back in March at the Tucson Toy Show. Again, another comic book, but this is Saga number 1, the first print. I paid $17 for this year. When I first started getting back into reading modern comics, this story had just come out. And I had really enjoyed it, and I always wanted a copy, but I never really wanted to pay up for it. And then when I found one in the wild, I was like, all right, let's do it. So yeah, I'm glad to actually have this copy. Meaningful comic, and I'm glad just had to have it. Had to make it at number 9. This one is also interchangeable with Lovers, about where it would rank. It could be 10, it could be 9, depending on the day, but definitely had to be on this list. A great read. All right, this is the first item that is not a comic book per se. I actually don't know if I ever even made a video showing this. I picked this up probably June or July-ish. But this is actually Sosuno Freeren, number 1, graded by Beckett. This is the volume 1, first print Japanese. Freeren has quickly become not just like my favorite comic story, my favorite manga, favorite anime, but one of my favorite just pieces of media as far as stories go. And when this came up for sale, it was actually an auction that was kind of poorly listed. I ended up getting it fully shipped to me for less than $80. So first print, already graded, and one of the best stories I've read in a very long time, and an equally beautiful anime to match it. This definitely had to make my list. Yeah, if you're not familiar with Freeren, highly suggest you check it out. Sosuno Freeren in Japanese, or Freeren Beyond Journey's End in English. But yeah. All right, next up, this is a book I picked up very beginning of the year. It had to either be January or February. This was actually an eBay purchase. It was kind of just like a throw a bid out there and see what happens type of book, and I actually won it for fairly cheap. I think it was it was either $60 or $70, somewhere in that neighborhood. But 4-color comics, $3.86. It's the Uncle Scrooge issue. This is one I do eventually plan to send off to get graded. Low grade, but it's presents well for what it is, and it's a book that I've always wanted. Uncle Scrooge has pretty significant history in sort of comics in general, animation, all of that. So had to make the list. Still one of my favorite books I picked up this year. All right, next book. I actually picked this up locally. When did I pick this up? Probably mid-year. I paid $20 for this, which is partially why I made the list, because that's an incredibly good deal for this book. Mind you, it probably would have made the list anyway, but Danger Girl #2, the Smoking Gun variant by J. Scott Campbell. When I was first getting into making YouTube videos back in 2016, 2017, somewhere in there, I would always see this book, and this was like, I'm going to find that book. It was just kind of like a, I don't know, like a badge of honor type book in my mind. So when I finally found a copy this year, it was pretty cool for me. Definitely going to be a keeper book for me. I do want to eventually get it signed by Campbell, but I'm not in any serious rush to do so. But definitely an easy book as far as making this list. Next up, this book could easily be higher on the list. All of these final ones kind of shift around, but this is a pretty cool book. I actually found 2 copies of this year. This is the one that is going to be my PC copy, and eventually I'll get it graded and all that. But this is Archie's Pals and Gals #23, first appearance of Josie and the Pussycats fame. Very high grade copy. I only paid $50 for this, but yeah, this definitely one of my prized Archie books. Just to get it for the deal I did and be the character that it is. Josie is one of 2 Archie characters that I kind of strictly collect. So, yeah. Very happy to add this to my collection this year. Especially get 2 copies, but especially this copy. Definitely had to make the list. All right, this next book is actually a very, very recent pickup. I made a video for it 1 or 2 weeks ago now. But this is Sergeant Furry and the Howling Commandos #1, the book I traded for not too long ago for a mostly full but not quite full box of $1 to $3 books and $45 cash. So a great trade for me. Low grade, but very significant Silver Age Marvel there. Book I wanted for a very, very long time. Lower grade than I had, anticipated, but for what I have into it, I am very, very happy. It's PC for now, maybe an upgrade candidate later on, but very, very happy to add this to my collection this year. Again, this one could be higher depending on how I'm feeling that day, but very, very happy to have added this to my collection. All right, we're down to the final 3 items I picked up this year. This one, again, could be higher or lower depending on how I'm feeling at that time, but really, really cool book. This is Darth Vader #1, the figure variant. But why this is significant is it is signed by Hayden Christensen right here. It's also signed by the artist right here, but Hayden Christensen's the big reason this is a significant book for me. Paid $200 for this, I believe, at Tucson Comic Con this year. It was kind of my treat myself item from Tucson Comic Con this year. And as a big, big fan of Star Wars, a large part of my collection nowadays is Star Wars. This absolutely had to be on the list, and I think being #3 is probably a good position for it. But yeah, picked this up this year. Definitely a favorite. I actually keep this one out displayed because I just like seeing it. So there's that one. All right, next up. For those who watch my channel, this one might actually surprise you that it's at the #2 spot. Probably going to be curious what my #1 could possibly be if I'm showing this at #2. But I just recently picked this up in a trade. Tales to Astonish #27. First appearance of Hank Pym, Ant-Man. Yeah, this is my #2. A book I had wanted since about 2016 when I first kind of hit my radar and had written it off. And then trade opportunities popped up, and now I am a happy owner of a copy. Still very, very new to me. I've owned it less than a week at this point, so yeah, very, very happy to get it. This is my #2, which probably leaves you wondering what my #1 could possibly be for this year. All right, so my #1, this isn't a comic book. If anything, this was more of an experience than a single item, but this single item kind of represents that experience for me. This is my official light stick from the auto concert I went to. For a long time, I wasn't sure if I was even going to include this on the list. It was an honorable mention at one point. I had it at #10 at one point. But the more I thought about it, the higher it ended up on my list. There it is. I wasn't quite sure where I was going to place this, but after really thinking about it, it had to be number one. The experience was amazing to me. And it wasn't just the auto concert, it was just a general vacation in general that me and my dad went to together. He didn't go to the concert with me, but he was up there with me doing stuff. So it was just kind of a fun experience and definitely the highlight of my year. My video about this concert is also my most viewed video of this year by a landslide. Um, and it is an experience I will probably always remember. If I ever get the opportunity to see Otto in concert again, no hesitation, I will be going. Um, so yeah, as far as experiences go, nothing really compares to this in 2025. So it had to make the list, and the more I thought about it, it is my number one experience this year. So it firmly sits at number one. So yeah, that is my whole list. My greatest pickups, purchases, experiences of 2025. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I think that is it. So hopefully you're all well out there. If you uh, have a channel and you did some purchasing this year, maybe you should make a video. I really enjoy watching these types of videos. Yeah, so leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I hope you're all well out there. Take care, everyone.